This story I've heard only once a long time ago, and I don't remember where I heard it, but I've taken it on as one of my favorites, and I embellished it a little bit. So this is called The Samurai's Quest. Once there was a samurai, and I assume you all know what a samurai is. Very brave warriors, knowledgeable people about their towns, their villages, and they did a lot of service for those towns, both in defense and teaching young people etiquette and the nature of their community. Well, there was a samurai once who was very troubled. He kept having uh, thoughts and doubts, and he was not sure what hell was, and if it even existed, and if it did, where would he find it? And he had the counter to that, which was, well, is there a heaven? What is heaven? And does it exist? And if it does, where would he find that? So he asked his father, and his father said, that is a very difficult matter to explain. I would send you to see your mother. She knows a lot more about this kind of thing than I do. And he asked his mother the same thing. Mother, is there a hell? Does it exist? And if it does, where will I find it? And the same for heaven. Does it exist? What is it? And where will I find it? And she sent him on, saying, that too is a difficult question. You must go and see our priests and talk with them about it. And the priests pretty much gave him the same answer. Samurai, that is a very difficult question to answer thoroughly. We suggest that you go up on the side of the mountain. You will find a cliff up there. And on that cliff is a very, very old, wise man. And he will be able to help you with that. So he went and left the city, climbed out into the woods, made his way up the side of the mountain. This was a long trip. And he made it up to the side of the mountain where it was all rock, and he could see a ledge above him. He continued up that rocky slope and clambered up onto the ledge. And the old man said, samurai, I've been expecting you. And the samurai said, I am here to ask you a question, old man. I hope that you can answer it for me. What is hell? Does it exist? And if it does, where will I find it? And the same for heaven. What is it? Does it exist? And where will I find heaven? And the old man said, oh, samurai, you think so much of yourself. Oh, you're such a revered and respected warrior, and you're such a citizen of your town. What makes you think you are so worthy of such knowledge? And the samurai said, old man, you say yourself who I am and who the village knows me to be and the kind of respect that I have. Surely you can give me the answer to my question. Now, samurai, they may know you, they may think you are worthy, but you are asking me. You must prove to me that you are worthy of such knowledge. Very well, old man, what should I do to please you? And he said, well, samurai, you'll notice that I am up on a cliff here, and it's very hard for people to see me. I want you to go down the side of the mountain and gather stones and make a stone staircase up to my ledge. This is my home. and people need to find me and have access to me, so I may tell them of my knowledge and wisdom. So the samurai went down the side of the mountain, and he began to collect large granite stones. And he began to build the stone steps that would take people up to the old man's cliff. Now, this was not an easy task. So he had to go down and get more rice and more water and bring them back up so he could continue to build the staircase. And eventually, he was able to do it. And he came back up and said, "Old man, I have done as you ask. Now, tell me what I need to know. Answer my questions." And the samurai said, "Well, the old man said, you have built a staircase for me, but it's coming from the south. I need to have one coming from the north as well. So you need to go down and grab as many of those stones that are left and build a staircase for me, stone steps up to my bed from the north, so that people from the south and the north may make their way to me." And the samurai sort of questioned, and he said, "Well, can't they get to the south?" "No, no, no, you need to have another staircase for me on the north." So the samurai went down again, and he began to build the second staircase on the north. And again, he had to go back down to his village and get more rice and more water. And he came back up and finished the staircase. Now, he climbed up and he stood before the old man and said, "Old man, I have built you 2 stone staircases up to your resting place here, so that people may have access to you." And the old man said, "Ah, samurai, yes, yes, you think you're so worthy now, but I'm not sure you are ready for this wisdom." And the samurai said, "Old man, I have answered your request. I have done as you said. And now you will tell me the answer to my questions. What is hell? Does it exist? And if it does, where will I find it? And the same for heaven." And the old man said, "Oh, samurai, you are so silly. Why, you have done all this work for me, and really, I don't even have to tell you, do I? I mean, if I don't tell you, you won't know." And the samurai became rather aggravated, and he pulled out his sword and he held it over his head, and he said, "Old man, tell me what I need to know. I have done your tasks, your requests. You have 2 staircases, and I want to know, what is hell? Does it exist? And if it does, where will I find it? And the same true for heaven." And the old man said, "Oh, samurai, you are such a silly man, so smart, but I don't have to tell you." And the samurai went nuts. He pulled his sword up again and he waved it around in circles, and he said, "Oh man, prepare to die. I will sever your head and it will tumble down the mountainside, and no one will ever come to see you again. Prepare to die." And he lifts up the sword and he begins to bring it down, and the old man says, "Samurai, samurai, yes, that is hell. And yes, it exists. And you will find it inside yourself." And the samurai lowered his sword, knowing that the old man had come within an inch, within a second of losing his life, to explain to him in clear, no uncertain terms what hell was. And he dropped his sword and he fell to his knees, and he said, "Oh man, you have told me something that no one else could tell me. You have described to me the very beginning of my quest. I feel such respect and I revere you, sir. And the old man said, Samurai, samurai, that is heaven. And yes, it exists, and you will find it inside yourself. The Samurai's Quest. Thank you for listening.